Greetings folks, here we have the Dynam pits from Banggood. Now my version in the box is red. This shows the yellow one on the box, but I think I prefer the red one actually. My friend Michael Downey has one of these planes and I've been watching him fly it over the last 12 months or so, and it's an absolute blast to fly apparently. Could do all sorts of 3D manoeuvres, which I don't know if I can do, but we shall see. Okay, it flies on a 4S 2200, has a 50 amp ESC. Wingspan is just over a metre, 1067 millimetres. It has a 3720 650 kV motor. Let's open it up and have a look at it. Here are all the bits and pieces laid out, everything that comes in the box. We've got two very nice looking wings, upper and lower wings, servos already installed, ailerons top and bottom, and they connect via these little plastic tabs. Nice big chunky fuselage, hatch to get into the battery compartment. The cowl comes off to reveal a BM 3720 A3 650 kV motor, which is a fairly common Detram motor. Comes with lots of their planes. Two very nice big 13x6 props. Pretty decent looking landing gear with wheel pants. That's a cool touch. Horizontal and vertical stabilizers. Very big control surfaces. They seem quite thin. Anyway, we'll see how they go. We have canopy, pilot, decals, interplane struts, all the push rods, bit of glue, all the nuts and bolts, the typical Dynam instruction manual which gets you by, speed controller, more decals. The ESC connection is a Dean's or a T connector, so I'll change that for an XT60 as usual. They've provided a Y lead for the ailerons, and they, as usual, they come connected to the elevator and rudder. This little piece of electronics, which I think is a voltage booster or a signal booster, comes on most of the bigger Dynam models. Just pulling out the ESC, which is a Detram 50 amp. So that I can change over that plug, and just take note of which way the three ESC wires are connected so I can connect it up the right way later on. First task is to fix the landing gear in place with some 10mm screws, and that is hard plastic plate that we're mounting onto, so that's good. Just have to make sure the wheels are going the right way, or the wheel pants. And there's a little foam cover that goes over the top of that. It gets fixed in with a bit of double-sided tape or something. Double-sided tape will do. Very nice, that's done. Landing gear is on. Next up we are fitting the wing struts to the same with 4 8mm screws. Next, the instructions say to glue the wing strut cover on, but I'd like to have access in there still. I think I could maybe put my receiver and stuff in there, so I'll tape it on eventually. I'll just leave it sitting there for the moment. Alright, we have a Y lead for the ailerons. I might as well just use that for the moment. Connect up the Y leads for the ailerons. Yeah, so I'm going to put some servo extensions on the rudder and elevator just so I can get it right through to the top hatch. Now I can pass the aileron lead through and screw the bottom wing on using 20mm screws. Bit of jiggling and wiggling required, but now they're all biting in nicely. Done. Next job is to bolt on the interplane struts, and There's a long end and a short end, and just looking at the photos, I think the long end goes on the bottom. And you use these tiny little 6mm nuts and bolts. So it's just a matter of sitting down, making yourself comfortable, and putting all the bolts in. 1 down, 9, 10, 11, 12 to go. I won't bore you with that. And I'll have to remember to put a little dab of Loctite on all of those screws to stop them coming apart. But there are the wings all mounted. And that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Everything fitted together really nicely. Now we're fitting the horizontal and vertical stabilizers. I assume it goes that way. They sort of fit together. There we go. All fit together like that, and we screw them together underneath through here with 2 20mm screws. It's quite tricky to locate where you're screwing into, but that's good now. It's pulling down nicely. Yeah, excellent. Happy with that. Now the little tail wheel with a couple of these tiny little screws, I believe. Nice. And now we have these little stabilizer struts, I guess you'd call them, which are joined by little springs that hook in like that. Then that hooks into there. So there we go, and we do the same on the other side as well. Next I'm connecting up the aileron push rods. They're just like normal push rods, which connect the upper and lower ailerons. The control horns are just the pin and hole style, and there's a couple of holes on the rudder to position it. And a push rod. Should have thought of that. Oh, there we go. And now the elevator. Well, I'm not at all impressed with these control horns. They're supposed to sort of ratchet together, but they just sort of pull out. That's not even fixing properly, and the pins just break off. I wouldn't trust that. I've found a more appropriate control horn for the rudder and elevator. A lot wider base, nice and solid. That's not going to break like the supplied one would have. So I'll put that on the rudder, and I'll put the other one on the elevator. Yes, much happier with that. This is the top of the rudder hinge, which has already started to give way, so I'll have to repair that. A little bit annoying. Some of the aileron hinges are a bit suspect too, so they'll need a bit of work. Now at this stage I can probably put the pilot and the canopy on. I think I'm going to make the canopy removable with little velcro tabs, I think, because that's such a good spot for a pan and tilt FPV camera. I want to be able to take the canopy off. Alright, all programmed up with enormous throws and going the right direction. Almost ready to go. Here it is, all put together and ready to fly. A few little minor things like putting Loctite on the screws, balancing it with the batteries that I have. There are some pretty nice decals provided, but I think it looks so good without the decals on, I might even just leave it as it is. That's a hot looking plane. Thanks to Banggood for providing the pits for the review. Purchase links are in the description. Thanks for watching.